Doctors in Sudan are imagined as a leading force in a wave of anti-government protests, but they are paying a price for their defiance. On Thursday, witnesses say a doctor was killed by the security forces amid demonstrations in the capital, Khartoum. The protests began last month over the economic situation in the country, but are now focused on removing longtime President Omar al-Bashir from office. One medic, who requested anonymity, told the BBC's Newsday program about the killing of his colleague and how doctors feel they have now become a target for the authorities. It was a very sad day for us in Sudan, especially for doctors. A doctor was killed while he was trying to perform his duty. He was helping those injured in Buri, which is an area just near the Royal Care Hospital in the center of Khartoum. The witnesses that came with the doctor to the hospital told me what happened. The doctor was trapped with some of the protesters inside a house in Buri. He was trying to provide medical care for them, and the police forces tried to force them out of the house, so they fired tear gas inside the house. They could not stay inside anymore, so the doctor took a very brave stand. He opened the door and he kept his hands held up high, trying to show them that he was coming out peacefully, and he asked them if he could approach them just to talk to them. Surprisingly, they agreed and they said, "Okay, you can keep approaching us. We are ready to talk to you." When he came close, he started explaining that he was a medical doctor and he was trying to provide medical care for the injured inside. That 5 people were injured, and he was the only doctor in the house. The response he got was, "You are a medical doctor. Well, we are looking for you." And they took 2 steps back, and they just fired at him. They killed him with such brutality. They just did not care. They just shot him, and then went away. It's a very sad situation. Redma, with, as medical doctors, feel that our lives are in danger every day. On Thursday, our small community of doctors told us that whenever we are on the street, whenever we are helping people, and even if we are doing our daily activities, we should never mention to any police officers or national security members that we are medical doctors, because they are trying to eradicate any medical doctor. They are focusing on us, because the medical doctors are now leading nationwide strikes. The people started the protests, but when the police became violent, the doctors rose up to lead the protests. In the Sudanese community, doctors are well respected because they tend to be people who were recognized as being intelligent and given education. Now, we are trying to persuade people to protest through civil disobedience, so to stay at home. Do not go to work. Do not go anywhere. We have become a threat to the government. We know that there are threats, but there is still a lot we can do as doctors. We are very determined to keep doing our jobs. I really believe that there is no turning back from what's happening in Sudan. We have seen people die. We have seen people in their 20s sustain permanent disabilities, and still insisting that freedom is more important than life lived in fear, as it is becoming a threat to practice medicine in Sudan. This means eventually we are going to end up stopping working and turn all our efforts into protecting or treating the protesters in the streets. A poacher has been ordered to watch the Disney film Bambi repeatedly after he was convicted of illegally killing hundreds of deer. Missouri hunter David Buri, Jr. must view the film at least once a month during his year-long sentence. He was arrested in August along with 2 family members for killing the deer, taking their heads and leaving their bodies to rot. Prosecutors said it is reportedly one of the biggest poaching cases in Missouri history. On top of the jail sentence for the illegal deer hunting, Judge Robert George ordered Barry Jr. to view the Walt Disney movie Bambi, with the first viewing being on or before December 24th, 2018, and at least one such viewing each month thereafter. During his spell in prison, the 1942 cartoon about woodland creatures shows a hunter kill the mother of eponymous deer character Bambi. A months-long investigation, spanning several states, led to the arrest of Barry Jr., his father David Barry, Sr., and his brother Kyle Barry, according to local newspaper, the Springfield News-Leader. While the total number of deer taken illegally is unknown, Lawrence County's conservation agent Andy Barton said it could be several hundred. Barry Jr. received a year-long sentence in Lawrence County Prison after pleading guilty to illegally taking wildlife. He has also been sentenced to a 120-day term in Barton County Prison for a firearms probation violation, and both he and his father had their hunting privileges revoked for life by the Missouri Conservation Commission. 2 Scandinavian women tourists have been found dead in Morocco, with kids to their necks. The country's Interior Ministry said both bodies were found near the town of Imlil in the high Atlas mountain range, near the foot of North Africa's highest peak, Mount Toubkal. The women, from Denmark and Norway respectively, have not yet been named. A police investigation has been launched into their deaths. The Interior Ministry statement said the United States military says it has killed 62 fighters from the Islamist group al-Shabab in 6 airstrikes in Somalia. 4 airstrikes on Saturday killed 32 militants, and a further 2 on Sunday killed 28, it said in a statement. These were the deadliest air attacks in Somalia since November 2017, when the United States said it had killed 100 militants. Somalia has seen a sharp increase in the number of airstrikes and casualties since President Donald Trump took office in the United States in January 2017. A tally by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism reveals that at least 400 people have been killed in airstrikes since the beginning of 2017, far more than the previous 10 years combined. The latest strikes bring to at least 30 the number carried out in Somalia so far this year, compared with 35 recorded in 2017. The United States has a huge military base in neighboring Djibouti, from where it launches attacks on the militants. Mr. Trump gave the United States military greater authority in March 2017 to attack militants in Somalia. Traditionally, United States presidents have been wary of intervening in Somalia since 80s Special Forces soldiers died fighting militias in the capital Mogadishu in 1993, a battle dramatized in the film Black Hawk Down. No civilians were killed in the latest airstrikes, which were carried out in coordination with the Somali government, the United States military said. Alongside our Somali and international partners, we are committed to preventing al-Shabab from taking advantage of safe havens from which they can build capacity and attack the people of Somalia, the United States Africa Command said. Al-Shabab, which is linked to al-Qaeda, has not yet commented on the latest strikes. Somalia-based security think tank the High Royal Institute said in a report published in November that al-Shabab had been forced to change tactics following the upsurge in airstrikes. The institute said the group was now conducting fewer mass attacks on military bases.